So here is your first look at a retail and fake pair of the Adidas Yeezy 350 V2 in the slate coal black colorway. Can you tell any differences between these two? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a comparison for you between two pairs of the Yeezy 350 V2 Boost in the slate coal black colorway. Can you tell the difference between these two? Well, we'll find out in this video. So on the right here is my retail pair that I purchased from Offspring. You can see the label right there. And then on the left here is the fake one. And I'm just gonna be showing you some of the differences and what to look for if you're trying to purchase a retail pair. So we're gonna get straight into the video. And the first difference I'm gonna point out is actually the color of the cardboard and the size of the boxes. So both pairs here are US 10, and yet there is quite a big difference between the two boxes. So if I show you from the close-up, you can see that the cardboard on the fake box is actually slightly darker than it is on the retail one. And I would actually say the retail box is slightly larger than the fake one as well. So you can see that there if I hold it up in the lighting. Now, if we spin the boxes around and take a closer look at the labels, I'll show you the differences here. Obviously, the retail one comes with a retail sticker from the store that it was purchased, but it is based on a UK label, whereas the fake one is based off a US label because they seem to always replicate the US market. As you can see, the size boxes are very different from the retail to fake, but if you look at the actual text and the color code, you can see that the font size and text size is very different from retail to fake. Where it says slate, core black, slate, color code is much larger on the fake one compared to the retail one, and there's a much larger gap between the color code and the originals below on the retail one compared to the fake one. So if you are based in the UK and purchasing a pair of these, I would check out the UK retail label here, and you can see a close-up of this just to have an overlook at some of the details on your label and make sure yours is a retail pair. But nobody really wants me to talk about the boxes for the entire video, so we'll open them up, take a close look at the shoes themselves. So we'll open up the fake one first. As you can see, the shoes come exposed. Paper should normally wrap around the shoe, covering them up. Not tried these on, not opened them up before, so it's just a telltale sign that this pair is fake. We open up the retail one. As you can see, paper covers them. This is how they should come from any retail store. Paper should cover the shoes so you can't see them. Take out the shoes. As you can see on the fake one, it does actually come with the paper on the bottom, but I just don't understand why the fakes don't wrap it around the shoe. So here is your first look at a retail and fake pair of the Adidas Yeezy 350 V2 in the slate coal black colorway. Can you tell any differences between these two? So the first difference I'm going to point out is actually on the labels themselves. On the retail pair, as you can see, the labels come attached to the right shoe, whereas on the fake pair, the labels come attached to the left shoe, and also the labels are based off the US labels, so there's only two of them on the fake one, whereas on the retail one here purchased in the UK, you can see there is a number of different labels. So just pay close attention to this, because if it's from the US, it should have two labels. If it's from the UK or Europe, it should have multiple labels. So the next difference I'm going to point out is actually the laces themselves. So if I give you a close-up of this, you can see a difference between the two. What I would say is the laces are actually slightly thicker on the fake pair compared to the retail one. However, this is very minor, and there is also a color difference between the two. On the retail one, the laces are actually slightly darker than the fake one. On the fake one, the laces are lighter and almost stand out against the upper material below. Another telltale sign between the two Yeezys is actually the shape at the heel. So if I give you a close-up of this, you can see the difference in shape. On the retail one, you can see it has that curved bump towards the bottom of the heel on the retail pair, whereas on the fake one, you can see it goes straight down. So there's a clear difference in the shape, and this actually is a difference in the feel of the shoe when on foot. It locks in a little bit better on the retail one than the fake one. However, it's not that big of a difference, but it is something to note in the appearance of the heel of the shoe. Looking down at the toe box area of both of these shoes, you can actually see a difference in the shape of the shoes. So looking from straight above, you can see that the toe box is far more squared off on the fake one compared to the retail one, which curves around like a normal Yeezy should. Whereas on the fake one, you can see it has that squared off toe box. However, it doesn't really affect how these fit. It's just the appearance from above that looks very different from retail to fake. Spinning the shoe around to the back and taking a look at this stripe position. These shoes are both the exact same size, and as you can see, the stripe position is very different from retail to fake. On the fake one, you can see that the stripe is positioned much lower down and there's less of a beige material between the bottom of the stripe and the sole itself. Whereas on the retail one, you can see there's a much bigger gap between the bottom of the stripe and the top of the sole. Spinning the shoe around to the back and taking a look at the actual sole plate itself, you can see it has this sectioned panel at the back here which wraps all the way underneath the shoe. This sectioned panel is darker on the fake one compared to the retail one, and you can see this pretty clearly. On the retail one, this part of the sole matches all the rest of the outer side of the sole, whereas on the fake one you can see there's a difference in material between the two. Because this back heel panel part of the sole is darker, this goes onto the tread of the shoe as well. Because of that panel wrapping all the way underneath the shoe, you can see a difference in the tread underneath. So this rubberized material is much darker on the fake one compared to the retail pair, as you can see clearly here. And if you take a look at the toe box where this part of the shoe wraps up again, you can see clearly a clear color difference between the two, where it's much darker on the fake compared to the retail one. However, after a few amounts of wear, this will be pretty hard to see, but pay close attention if you have a dead stock pair, because it's quite an easy telltale sign between the two pairs.
I also noticed while looking back at the filming just how different the colour between the sock liner is on both pairs. As you can see, the retail one is much lighter and the fake one is a more green tint to it.
Taking a look at the Adidas 3 stripes going inside the heel here, you can actually see a difference between the retail and fake. So on the outer edges of the 3 stripe, you can see it has this darker outer edge line on all of the stripes. Whereas on the fake one, this doesn't occur. So there's a clear difference between the retail and fake in the actual appearance of these 3 stripes towards the inner side of the heel. However, in terms of the prime knit itself, there really is no difference at all. They've got this absolutely spot on, even in terms of the color. It's absolutely spot on. And this shoe really reminds me of the Sesame, which I have somewhere in my collection, but I don't really know where they are. But it really reminds me of the Sesame, and it's actually a pretty clean colorway, but I actually like what they did with the black stripe, just makes it a little bit different. And yeah, these aren't actually too bad. I really do like this shoe. But back to the comparison. Spinning these upside down, taking a look at the boost, and this is where the differences are very clear to see. So as you can see from the close-up, you can see it's covered in circles with 3 stripes, and these are far more visible on the fake one compared to the retail one, and the retail one is a far more glossy boost compared to the fake one. And I do understand that this is very hard to see unless you have 2 pairs in hand, but I'm just pointing out some of the differences you have to look for if you are trying to authenticate your retail pair. Now we'll take out the paper from inside the shoes on the retail one, and then on the fake one. So as you can see, they're very different. The sizing is very different from the retail to fake, and also the overall feel of them is very different. I would say the retail paper inside is much softer, whereas the fake one is a lot crispier, as you can probably hear. But nobody really cares about the paper, it's just another difference to note if you are trying to authenticate. Now look at the insole inside the shoe, the retail one, and the fake one. So quite a clear difference between the 2 insoles, and I'll give you a close-up of this. So from above you can see it has this kind of globe-like symbol at the back of the heel. This is much thicker on the fake one compared to the retail one, as well as the Yeezy text being much thicker on the fake one compared to the retail one. The overall insole colour is maybe slightly darker on the fake one compared to the retail one, however even in studio lighting it's pretty hard to tell. Spinning these upside down and we take a closer look. If you look at this inside text on the insole, you can see it's actually upside down on the fake one, where it says YH0010 85 to 9.5, which is obviously the sizing. It's upside down on the fake one compared to the retail one. Also zooming in on the Adidas logo and where it has the R symbol next to it, you can see that this is very messily printed on the fake one compared to the retail one. They haven't really taken much care, which probably the retail one hasn't either, but it's just a lot more cleanly printed on the retail one compared to the fake. Now giving you a close-up of inside the shoe and looking at the stitching going around the inside, it's actually a lot messier on the fake one compared to the retail one. The retail one is actually surprisingly done very cleanly. The stitching is pretty much evenly spaced all the way around, just apart from at the back here. Whereas if you look at the fake one, it's just a little bit all over the place. Hopefully this is showing up on the camera, but it's not as cleanly done as it is on the retail pair. Taking a look at the right shoe, probably the main difference I would notice on this pair is the actual shape of the shoe. So I'll show you them side by side and you can see the shape, mainly towards the heel, but also all over the shoe, is very different from retail to fake. And this, you can see this clearly from the side by side. After a few wears, this will obviously change, but if they're both dead stock, just pay close attention to the overall shape, because the Yeezy 350 V2 has a very distinctive shape. And I hope the differences in this video has helped you try to purchase a retail pair, because this pair is incredibly nice. But please like, subscribe, helps the channel grow, helps me do videos just like this, and thank you very much for watching. Hope you have an amazing day.